Class of 2019. There is just one among many important rituals that we engage in on this sacred day. And it's this: your selfie with the Plummer professor. Thank you. Class of 2019. The one constant in life is change. Life is ever evolving. Reality is ever shifting. From the point of conception inside of your mother's womb until that moment when the bell ultimately tolls for all of us, human life is in a constant state of flow and flux. Commencement captures this truism. Today marks an end and a beginning. Today we recognize your accomplishments and inaugurate a new season of your life. This is a beautiful day. Of course, we must acknowledge immediately following the euphorias of today's celebration awaits an emotional crash landing. And I'm not just talking about the sort of hangover some of you are experiencing right now. I'm talking about the anxiety of the unknown. For some of you, real adulting waits right outside of these gates. Welcome to the world of full-time employment, rent, auto insurance, and a monthly bill for internet access. Once you start paying your bill, some of you are going to long for the days of two-step verification. But there's more. As you enter different fields of human endeavor, your ethical decisions and personal choices will reverberate with great social significance. You are now a Harvard graduate, and with great privilege comes great responsibility. So I want to leave you this morning with a couple of moral guideposts for you to consider as you set out to make your mark in this world. The first thing is this: Class of 2019, do not confuse responsibility with resignation. Some will try to convince you that to become a responsible adult is to renounce the hopes, dreams, and ideals that have propelled you forward thus far. Some will mock what they regard as your youthful idealism. Some will say things like, with responsibility comes sobriety. Others will say, well, when I was a child, I dreamed like a child. I hoped like a child. I was idealistic like a child. But when I became an adult, I put childish things away. Unfortunately, this says more about our culture than it does about you. A culture in decay is one that persecutes the poets and demonizes the dreamers. We need you to continue to dream, class of 2019. Over the past 4 years, we've witnessed your incredible openness, your inspiring moral imaginations, and your amazing artistry. Even when uncomfortable, you availed yourself to opportunities and ideas that stretched you intellectually and spiritually. Classmates and cultures that were once foreign became familiar. You engaged ideas and concepts once considered incomprehensible. Your imaginations took flight as you refused to make peace with somebody else's answers to your pressing moral questions. You thus prove that ethical responsibility can take the language of poetry, not just mundane prose. Being a responsible adult, class of 2019, does not mean that you should renounce your immoral imaginations, your hopes, your dreams, and your creativity. Hold on. Continue to dream. Second thing is this. Do not make the mistake of equating intellectual maturity with upward social mobility. People will tell you that once you grow up and mature, you will start advancing along your chosen career path. That's just not true. There are times in life, class of 2019. There are times in life that your intellectual maturity will counter your professional ascendancy. A willingness to critique the status quo and ask difficult questions are the signs of intellectual maturity, and this may land you in a difficult place. For whenever you dare to challenge the corporate and institutional apparatuses that facilitate our professional aspirations, we do so at our own risk and often at great sacrifice. But this might be the only way. This might be the only way for you to preserve your moral compass and to maintain your moral courage. And many of us are here today because others were willing to sacrifice personal gain and financial profit for what they knew was right, good, and just. But your class seems to get this already. Your class seems to get this. Maybe this is why your class refused to make peace with the existing conditions at Harvard. Your class, you challenged gender, racial, and class hierarchies. You opposed LGBTQ exclusion. You confronted religious bigotry among student groups and organizations. Your class gets this. Your class organized for change by standing up against police violence on our campus and in our country. You cared for families living in sanctuary in the city of Cambridge. You used your educational privilege to expand opportunity for school-aged children from Somerville to South Africa. You pushed Harvard to divest from companies that profit from the deterioration of our environment. And you transformed the classic narratives of Antigone, Desdemona, and W.E.B. Du Bois into powerful social commentaries for the contemporary age. Your class gets this. Your class has truly inspired us. With each artistic production, campus sit-in, with each act of service, you refuse to allow anyone to define creativity and generosity as idealism and resignation and cynicism as truth. With each articulated dream and moral demand, you challenged a culture that frames dissent as immature and emotionalism and the status quo as somehow rational. And with your vision of a more just, loving, and compassionate Harvard, you have left this campus a better place than you found it. This was your gift to us, class of 2019. Now go out and keep up the fight. Make it your gift to the world. Because change, my friends, is inevitable. But growth and maturity is optional. You choose this day whom you will serve. Amen.